Today we're working on What If, number 38 from volume 1. This is one of my favorite comic series. I love just the concept of those small changes in the storyline, how they can have huge repercussions and bigger effects. So we've got a magazine backer board down just to give us a nice clean space to work on. Gonna find the middle staples, give this guy some support. Also gives me a chance to kind of look through the pages here a little bit. But overall, these inner pages, they are off-white. They're not brittle. They're actually in pretty good shape. As you can see, just kind of looking down the book, everybody's actually looking pretty good. Finding the staple here is proving to be tricky. As always, we've got our black gloves on to prevent oil from our hands getting on the book or interfering in any way. There we go. Inner staple looks like it's in good shape. Everybody's silver, well maintained. I'm gonna put a magazine backer board, just line it up there, give us support. Now, this book is from 1983. So this has seen some love going down just our initial assessments. So we know where we're coming from, as well as how we might be able to improve this book. So we start with the corners. We've got one that's rounded off. It's not looking too bad. Pretty sharp. But there's a little bit of fringing or fraying going on here at this top corner on the spine. It's even worse here at the bottom corner. So you can kind of see that's just been turned and opened a number of times. It's led to a spine tick that color breaks as well. So that's frayed. That's frayed. Down here, we have a rounded corner with also a bend that is color breaking. So these corners, not in fantastic shape, but for the age of this book, not horrible either. This is literally a 40-year-old comic book. When we move to the edges, again, these just look like they're worn. This has been a well-loved, well-read book. Now, we also notice here that we have a tear in the outside edge. It's about a ½ inch long tear. It's a little jagged. So that is definitely going to bring the overall value down to this book. We also have kind of a, it's not a tear. Well, it is the beginning of a tear here. Right now, just showing up as a color break, but that is the paper that's weakened right here in this area. Spine actually looks pretty good. We have a very slight spine roll that honestly just finding the staples and putting the backer board in straighten things out quite a bit. We also have, I'm counting 11 spine ticks along the cover. There are 2 color breaking. We've got one down here and then one up here as well. As a whole, this cover, it's just worn, not really very soiled. But we also have, and it's kind of hard to see from the camera, it looks like there's a bite mark here, like somebody put this book in their mouth. There's also some indents where somebody looks like they've just put like a pen and pushed in, or maybe wrote a note on top of this book. You also have numerous just kind of finger dents and dings. So I think those are things that we will be able to press out pretty effectively. Now the deeper indents, I'm going to try a new method. Now, moving to the inside cover, this actually looks pretty good. Again, our tear is more apparent. We're starting to get a little bit more wear that we can see here because of the white edge. We're going to be very careful when we kind of wipe that down. Overall, not very soiled. We're not really going to do a whole lot of work on that, especially with the tear weakening the paper. Moving to the back cover. More soiling here. Again, kind of classic white advertisement on the back. Picks up a lot of soiling. We're seeing, again, some bending, some creasing here on the edge. Nothing really causing horrible damage to the paper that we can't overcome. Turning to the inside cover, we can kind of see here that we're starting to get little small tears in the edge. And we've got a couple of small tears here on the bottom. So we're seeing again the bends and folds. Sometimes these are easier to see on the back side. On the inside pages, as we flipped through and found the staples earlier, again, these are off-white. They're in pretty good shape. They're not brittle. They're a little dry, that's for sure. A couple of places, we have our Marvel points. We're going to try to get some more information about those. Now, as the Marvel points come closer to the bottom of the edge, they also lead to some tearing. So there's a couple of pages that have very small little tears that are actually just the Marvel points that came down really low in the book. Also, there's a number of places where we have this purple box. This is clearly a printing issue. I'm not really sure what this is sitting here right now, but I'll try to do some more research. Overall, good looking book, some very interesting stories. The Red Skull has a kid, Captain America gets old. Just a lot going on in this particular issue. And again, one of the reasons why I love this particular What If series. So now let's just get into a very basic clean and press. I am not planning on adding any moisture to this book. I'm just going to see how it goes with a clean and press, just a dry clean. So we picked up a little bit of soil here. What's interesting about these black covers is they use a lot of negative space really well. They really kind of jump out, but man, any little fingerprint, any little imperfection, they show. There's nothing hiding here on a black book. So again, not really a whole lot of soil, just picking up a little bit of surface dirt. And we'll keep working through the other pages. So now let's try to tackle these indents here on the front cover. So these do come through the back, although they're a little bit hard to see here on the inside cover. But that's where we're going to start. So one method that is used pretty frequently for these is kind of rubbing them out with either a metal ball bearing, a marble can also work, just kind of something dense and circular. So I'm going to just start here trying to use, it's a Lego head. Just see if I can kind of rub through these a little bit without causing kind of any more like uneven pressure. So I'm just giving it a gentle rub back and forth. Need to keep that book a little bit more supported on the page. So I don't know that our Lego head did much. I've got just my vial of AccuClean here. I'm just gonna use the bottle and see if we can't just roll that out a little bit. Kind of go in a couple of different directions. And again, I'm putting very light pressure on this. I'm starting to see some results. Starting to see that come out a little bit, at least the bite mark. The pen marks, we're going to have to see a little bit more on the front page. So looking now on the front cover, you still see them. They're still there quite considerably. But again, we don't want to put any more stress on this page than we have to, especially with the black cover. It shows all kinds of marks. So again, marble or steel ball bearing definitely would have been better suited for this. But we didn't have one, so we're looking for something just, it's going to give us round, even pressure. So the bite mark from the back came out, but we're starting to see we got some color break here, where I'm assuming some child's teeth went into it. Over here, this has come out a little bit, so I'm going to give it another just kind of a broader rub here with our vial. This is just a glass vial that came with the Immaculate. And again, just making sure it's very light pressure. Again, I'm not sure who was running around biting their comic books. Maybe it was a little brother, a little sister. But again, after 40 years, weird things can happen. So again, we got a little bit of, it looks like that indent is a little bit lessened. The press hopefully can give us some better results. Now, just going to use our dirt removing sponge pad here. Just going to use the whole thing. Rub them down. I'm being very careful with this tear, making sure it's supported anytime I'm applying pressure in any direction. Supporting the spine as we pull away from it. Again, just being very careful around this tear. And already, I think just getting some surface level dirt off of this book has really made it pop a little bit more with that black cover. So looking at this Cracker Jack page, I really am not seeing any surface dirt that needs to be removed, like with our eraser work. I probably could get out some magnification, find something to work on. But this is something we were just looking for a quick, dry clean, quick press. Had that small spine roll that I think we've really worked out already. See if we can make some small improvements to the book. Now the back, we probably are going to need to use a little bit of eraser on it. Let's give this the dirt wipe first. Again, there's a couple of places here we probably do want to get our eraser in. Just that little tear right there. So it's holding some dirt, being very careful with it. So our next step could be using the Immaculate, giving it a wet clean, washing it down. I just really feel like this book doesn't need that. I'm concerned how that would address the fraying in the two corners in the front. I'm not really sure how the Immaculate would handle the tear. So I think at this point, we've got a pretty clean, dry book. Now let's press it, just see how it turns out. All right, so we are going to unpack our stack here on What If number 38. Got our magazine backer, our silicone release paper. And our book looking pretty clean. Now we have some color loss down here when we had those indents and the bite mark, but overall, those came out pretty well. Our tear is still, present, but it didn't do any more damage. And with a black book, things came out really smooth. I am really happy with how this cleaner press came out. So just kind of keep unpacking things a little bit. We had some 60-pound paper just on the inside cover. It's our magazine backer in the middle of the book, supporting the staples. Another 60-pound cardstock. Now that's interesting, just kind of the impression that left. It's almost like it picked up a little bit more dirt or ink during the pressure. I don't know if that's an indication that we need a little bit less pressure. But overall, I think it does a great job for the book. And there's our back cover that we did a little bit of work on with our silicone release paper on the back. So overall, incredibly happy with the way this book came out. And I think What If number 38, ready for a bag and a board. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Hopefully we picked up some tips and tricks as we're on this journey together, learning how we can preserve our comics, enjoy the hobby, and just really keep these things around for many, many years to come.